Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to No More Heroes. I exited out of the game and launched back in. Thankfully we had saved, but pretty much anytime I take any kind of break, I am going to have to save because the game just does not autosave. And honestly, this is about the last generation of games that it would have made any sense whatsoever to allow for that to be the option. By default, the next generation of consoles should have pretty much forced all games everywhere to autosave and auto checkpoint. Pretty much every game does, but there are still a few holdouts that aren't required. So we had this like Beefhead video phone call telling us about Beefhead Video, but we still can't actually go to Beefhead Video. There we have a new shirt, new t-shirt. Suda51 almost certainly is just obsessed with t-shirts. Or at least was obsessed with t-shirts at the time. I imagine Suda51 is a bit older now. We still don't know what to do with these Ludovic balls are. They feel like they're supposed to be like collectibles. They definitely feel like there might be a reference to. Sweet. Yeah, another t-shirt. I can't even see that one. But yeah, you can't go in here, yet you can peek and see that there's some Moai heads in that. So we just need more money.
Finger on anything.
So we have yet another crazy character. No More Heroes, as the title of this game, stands out as being interesting, but perhaps not the best title for what this game really is. It would have made a lot more sense if this game was straight up called Killer 11 or Killer 10 instead of No More Heroes, but then you really shouldn't connect it to the universe of Killer 7 in such a way. But yeah, it does seem weird to outright say there are no more heroes when there is really never a point, I think, in at which you get any kind of backstory to imply that there would be heroes. Certainly when you think about like the anime manga One Punch Man that came out after this, or several other anime, My Hero Academia is another good example of that. Like, those are worlds where heroes are just in ridiculous abundance, and so you would almost think that a game called No More Heroes would be playing off a world like that, where there was tons and tons of heroes and then they all got defeated or just killed. So this is our weapons upgrade character. So, Naomi, prototype model, which we should just buy it. That. Right. So, with that we spend some money, and then this seems to be able to locate buried treasure. Alright, we'll buy that. And I assume that means we are done with everything we can do here. It's just kind of an empty room.
You otaku.
Yeah. A Japanese person calling somebody an otaku is probably not something that would really have ever happened. I mean, at a very short period of time, it could have been a really insulting phrase to use, but it would make a lot more sense if she had called him a well, hin or hentai, which is directly translated to pervert, but in Western culture is almost exclusively used to describe animated porn. Alright, well, so now we can see on the map these orange spots. So, yeah, and I'm getting some controlling in the vibrator, in the controller. So, I think this is what I'm supposed to do, but there might be more to it than that. It shouldn't take this many attempts. So, we're seeing an increasing justification as the game opens up for, like, let's see. Accidentally called my car motorcycle. Wow, that seems a little framey.
We're all friends, but shit like this
I
won't
do
fly.
vaguely recall that the frame rate, there we go, the frame rate was a little framey in this game when I originally played it. Alright. So you would have to get out of your vehicle, walk around, and just do this quite a bit. And it definitely becomes questionable whether it's really worth it to... Interesting, I didn't know you could go into first person mode with the left trigger. This might be a resolution improvement issue, certainly too. At higher resolutions, the potential spot that you're supposed to find may just be getting more and more difficult to find. It's very believable that these spots reset and that there is effectively infinite amounts of money in this world, way more than you really would need. It's also very believable that there might be some kind of weird upgrade here that would justify waiting to collect these extra things. Definitely doesn't feel like I'm getting better at this, though. I probably have recouped my investment on having that part. Now, I guess the trick here is that you are going to get a vibration, and that should be the first place you go. Then you should take like a step forward, and then just take a step forward, and just keep going in those tiny little increments. But I really can't help but feel like there was a B team, certainly, in charge of making the placement of all of these collectibles and hidden spots. Yeah. It almost seems like it's intentionally designed in such a way that you have to walk forward 3 or 4 times at minimum. And I guess as you get further away from areas that are heavily green, you will run out of options as far as places where you could find hidden buried treasure. Like you straight up cannot dig up the cache through concrete. So that's pretty obvious that the cache won't ever be in concrete. And you would think that there might be some bigger gameplay element to like these houses, but I don't think there really is. I don't think you ever fight any enemy around here. They're just here. Kind of just because. Now I don't think this is respawning gold. If it is, then this starts to take the steps that would be necessary to make this viable enough that you would want to kind of run around the entire world on foot. Like inevitably, any good developer or director of this game would have to have in the back of his mind that the car mechanics, the motorcycle mechanics, may just get cut, and it may just not be like programmable with the team he has. So you would have to have at least a little bit of a thought to say, can we justify having such a big world if it was all on foot? I could see you storyline wise justifying it by having just like his motorcycle get towed. But it would be fairly annoying if you're constantly having to run around this much.
Whoa.
Sweet.
And we definitely have some new hope here, in the sense, interesting that the painting's all peeled there. Usually you don't see peeling painting or damage happen to the 3D models of games. Yeah, we have some hope now that since the game is marking these hidden objects and marking a lot of other things, that we will like get markers that would tell us where all the t-shirts and things would be. It does kind of seem like sometimes they like to put the hidden caches like in between bushes or right on bushes. So this is Area 51, which I assume is just a place to buy costumes
Come on in,
and
brother.
outfits.
Take a good look around.
Don't judge a book by its cover, okay? This is just my personal style. A man should stick to his guns, you know. Make a good selection now, bud. But be sure before you purchase. Okay. If you don't make up your mind soon, I'll have to stop letting you in here, bro. I'm going nuts here. It's hard on myself and my customers, but that's just the right way to do things, you know? Wow, that is a lot of talk. So, let's buy one of everything and see if we can actually afford things. I guess we can't. Since we've already upgraded our weapons, buying items is fine. Although we did just spend basically all of our money.
Take care now, brother.
Yeah. Even with these hidden caches of gold, well, I'll just call it gold, I suppose. That's as easy of a description as anything else. Like, the ability to waste all your money seems fairly high. We may get more gold now. Nope, it's still the same 10,000. So yeah, we're gonna potentially run into an issue where we have to run through several missions multiple times to make up for all the gold I just spent on costumes, which there's really no justification for that. Alright. The Moai heads being here.
We're old friends, but shit like this won't fly.
They don't seem to be anything. As far as like,
Whoa!
Sweet.
it seems like all the t-shirts and the like are actually just like chronologically in a line. Yeah, and it does seem like they are respawning the gold here. So that may straight up just be the solution, is that if you don't want to do mini games, which honestly there should just be a mode that says if you don't want to do mini games you don't have to. You could run around instead finding caches of things. And just letting it like respawn and refill your income that way. Alright, well, we have a flashing Chinese symbol type icon. We could take our motorcycle. Inherently, this is just going to make the experience even slower. So we can see to the right there's a collectible, and to the left is a collectible. So I guess you want to just kind of visually ascertain where you think this is first. And then you want to get close enough to get the vibrations. Then start to kind of just randomly press the button. Like, I would lean towards thinking it's somewhere here in this corner, or that it's right in the middle of a triangle of trees. Or that the shadows are supposed to make a X marks the spot indicator. But nope. Well, he's just kind of randomly nowhere. We need 200,000. You're getting 10,000 with every secret element. So honestly, wouldn't be crazy to just do this to get gold. You have a very empty grassland here with fairly poor grassland design to it. You would think that there would be something to all of this, but again, I don't really think there is. Like, there might be a jump here that you're supposed to do, which we haven't even been told about the jumps. But I don't think that there's like an assassin that is here, or that there's anything particularly interesting to see. Yeah, it's just lots of streets that on the map seem like they take you in different directions. Yep. So there's more to the map than just the brightly colored streets. There, you can see there's a way of wrapping around, but I am kind of going the wrong direction, and I'm not triggering any more secret caches. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there is a enemy that we fight that we drive through this area to reach. You would definitely expect that Santa Destroya, although, you know, what's funny is I keep saying Santa Destroya because I think that's the name of this city, but the actual sign on the Steam thumbnail says Santa Destroy. So I don't know what the difference there would be. There's also a danger here that would like run this way and not be able to exit because there's just a ton of walls. So let's go this direction. You would think if there is something over there you could see it. Yeah, a much better version of the city would have a case where wherever you stood, if you just spun around and looked, you would see something interesting that would push you towards going in that direction. But yeah, no such luck. There's definitely feels like there's a Grand Theft Auto influence on this game. But I would even question on even the most recent GTA games. Yeah, and you're just in darkness, so you can't even get a good look at what the shirt is.
Whoa.
Yeah, even the most recent GTA games, though, I question whether they have that much as far as interesting sightseeing elements to their game. Like, more and more it feels like these open world games have decided to copy the mundane, and particularly in a game that's so weirdly Japanese inspired, and let's just face it, anime inspired. You would not expect to be able to run around a city and not have somebody randomly attack you, or something crazy visually or something crazy audio wise happen. Like, this is definitely no New Donk City compared to like Mario Odyssey, where that is a tiny little city that they have, but around every corner there is something interesting and different to see, which I would expect. I would have liked this game probably if it was crazier with the building architecture designs and just a smaller map. If you were randomly attacked, that would also be something that would probably help you quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, that.
So this guy is going to help us build up our strength. You want that? Come over here. I'll teach you a little something. Take off your clothes. Off. Need your clothes off to do that. Yeah. I want to start. Get naked. Now stick your butt out. Hold still. Can't kill no one unless you have a strong stance. No, not your arms, your hips. Haven't you ever taken a dump in a Japanese style toilet? Strong stance. Excellent. Just like that. Most Japanese people these days definitely prefer Western style toilets where you are sitting instead of squatting, and a significant portion of Japanese kids these days could not even use a Japanese style toilet. They're incredibly infrequent. Now your underpants off. So yeah, some weird jokes here. I know you want to learn that, right? That's okay. Keep your clothes on. Okay. Extend your beam katana combo attacks. Increase the strength. Increase the maximum vitality. These are all totally worth buying. There's, let's see, a little mini game here. I'm not doing this right. I was supposed to be moving the left and right up and down, and instead I was barely tapping the left and right and just not doing it. I almost ran out of time there. If they're going to give me any kind of ranking for that, that's probably going to be very poor. Doesn't seem like they are going to give you a ranking for it, which is fine. Alright. Tap A. And let me just readjust my finger, so I'm using my pointer finger instead of thumb, which I can tap much faster with my pointer finger. That being said, I'm not going to be really crazy about this since there's not really a issue here about having to get this done in a certain amount of time. Now, it would kind of suck if you lost 6,000 gold and then the training didn't work because you didn't tap the buttons fast enough. Which maybe I did need to push the buttons faster because I have like 10 seconds left and I don't know if I can quite make this. It failed. Alright, so I did need to just very vigorously press that. Alright, well, we'll try that again. This is a great example of potentially putting a huge speed bump in the process of playing this game, which could cause people to just give up because they would struggle to get to the later fights and succeed at the later fights because they would struggle to do this completely unrelated mini game that does not seem like it's getting any easier the second time around. And since it is a button mashing thing, you definitely run into a problem of finger fatigue. Like just barely 1 second left. And hopefully this is just something different. Down, 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 down. Just push up and down on the left and right stickers at the same time. Here we have another poster in the background of a muscly girl. But otherwise the background is kind of poorly animated and definitely fairly empty. So yeah, I'm gonna hope that there isn't too much of that, because that is gonna kind of suck.
I wait for you.
Yeah, I could not blame anybody who felt like the game was kind of just wasting your time a lot here. And yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there is a point here where we are going to really struggle to find the last few collectibles. Yes, it makes some sense that you could find collectibles right around these buildings, but once you start getting more towards the edges of the map and more towards areas that are lesser populated. This is kind of a great example of a door that's not really even attached to the wall. It would also be fairly annoying if it turned out that the collectibles you're finding in trash cans now are also available for purchase, and so by purchasing those t-shirts from the costume shop, I've wasted my money. Although it would also be kind of nice if you could purchase them instead of having to run around and find them. You kind of want both options, but with just a warning, where the custom shop would say, warning, this can be found for free outside.
Yes.
It still would make a ton of sense, though, for the outfit collectibles that you're finding to be a thing that feeds into the ego of Travis, and then that would by default increase the vitality of Travis as a character, instead of him having to find gold or LBs. And then use the LBs to upgrade his vitality at the gym through doing a minigame. This is one of those games that also potentially I could see somebody modding out all of the minigame elements, just completely removing them and having more of an abridged version of this game as an experience. I've been a proponent of that idea for quite a while now, particularly with old games, that in either completely remaking a game or in just partially modding a game to make it an abridged format, you could probably sell a lot of older games better. Particularly when you start to talk about things that are super, super long. No More Heroes isn't the longest game ever, but if you're thinking of like playing Final Fantasy 13 or something, an abridged version of that removed all the grind would be very nice. And yeah, mostly game developers have achieved something like that by having remasters and starting over from scratch. If you think of like the Resident Evil 2 remake, I imagine that game is much more of an abridged experience compared to everything you could have done in the original version of Resident Evil 2. Plus you have better graphics and just a completely, well, a mostly different experience. At this point, like, we have our map here, and I guess there's a mission behind us that we're supposed to be doing, but I couldn't tell you what that side job is. Yeah, we don't have a side job. It doesn't seem like there's a real variety in the rewards as far as the ground treasures are concerned. It's always 10,000, which maybe that amount goes up as you get higher in rank. I definitely recall it being a case where you did a couple of side missions in the game, and then that was kind of all you needed to do after a while. That in between each other fight, you had other avenues to get gold, or just really no reason otherwise to get gold. If that is number 9 as far as, or number 99 as far as a t-shirt, then yeah, that does seem to imply that
What? Sweet.
there are probably 100 t-shirts. 3 digits also implied that, certainly. 008. Which that's just way too many t-shirts. Way too many collectibles. It definitely has the feel of a publisher or even a console creator. Wow. That's interesting pop-in. Just a shadow that only appears if you're really close and then pops out completely. Yeah. This really isn't a game that needs collectibles. There was another game that came out around this time. In fact, it was a small collection of games of just weird Japanese games. And that game was called Lollipop Chainsaw. And in a lot of ways, I think Lollipop Chainsaw does a better job of just keeping its experience fairly tight, and that it's not really asking the player to do side missions or run around an open world. I'm wondering if the trash bins disappear after you've opened them, or maybe they just don't spawn in unless you're fairly close to them. Lovikov ball. But it definitely felt like I should have seen a trash bin around there somewhere.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep. You still really have not had the whole game opened up to you, though. Being able to get a slightly better weapon and an upgrade and find hidden treasures is all nice, but it's not quite enough. Like, it's not like you can just run around the entire map and get a ridiculous amount of extra gold or increase your strength 4 or 5 times right at the beginning and just front load all the grinding. We are now playing with a different weapon, the Tsubaki laser sword. And we're going in here. Not even sure what this mission is. Free fight mission start. Kill until you take a single hit from the enemy. Kill them all within a time limit. Alright.
3, 2, 1.
So this guy's getting stunned very easily. But it definitely seems like there is a challenge here, certainly, obviously. And increasing my combos and increasing my strength is not going to really help there.
Oh, just look at him.
Right. And I'm just like tapping the X button here. I'm getting B prompts. So it does seem like I should probably just stay back. And just take these one at a time. Yeah, there's really just no upgrade there that's gonna help you. So getting better at the game, getting better at the combos, and possibly locking on better are the only thing that can happen there. And so yeah, you can see it incredibly framey at that point. It almost certainly is because they're attempting to render that NPC driving the vehicle and the vehicle at a distance, while the general game engine is saying don't render those things at a distance at a high frame rate. Right. So now let's just go to the job center and see what jobs we can potentially pick up. It may very well be a case that that free standing fight mission goes away if we move to the next chapter, which is effectively what I imagine you're doing whenever you fight one of the characters. This is the kind of game where it would be perfectly acceptable if the cars swerved and crashed to avoid colliding with you and would just swerve into walls. I do think I'm probably off by a higher factor than I think I am. Let's see. Well, that got me a jump and that saved. It didn't seem like that unlocked any achievement or anything, though. Let's see, how much do we owe? Let's see if we can do this. Don't have enough funds to make the payment. Try again later. You have to have the full amount. You can't do it in parts. I could have sworn that making jumps meant something, but maybe in that specific case I needed to have had a way to land that jump, so there might have needed to be some other boat or item ramp that unlocks later, I guess. I could definitely see players kind of resenting all of this extra content, though. It just is not what you came for or what was promised as an experience. Right, well. Do this. Do that. Pretty much this extra cache would have to reset in between each chapter.
Hello, Travis.
You can definitely see in some of these unique characters that they are very weird looking and definitely have the feeling of taking Killer 7 characters and making them even crazier. Right. We could go try the other one again, but let's just instead do the next one.
May you find your uppercut?
Just to try and play the game in a way that would make some sense. It definitely feels like when you see the logo in the lower right hand corner, you're saving and getting like a checkpoint, but I don't think that's really what's happening. I think it's just loading and not checkpointing. And I guess I could make a controversial statement to say, if you have an open world game and a major selling point around your open world game is that your car has a ton of radio stations for you to listen as you're driving around doing nothing, you've probably lost the plot somewhat as far as what's important as far as an element in the video games. And I do think GTA in a lot of ways has probably lost the plot. And this is another great example of a game that's similar to that, in that it really was unnecessary for me to potentially have to drive that extra 2 minutes. Yeah, if it's near a tree, it's probably around the tree, but obviously the area that they're counting should be a lot bigger. That one's on the sand, so I'd have to get to the beach first. Yeah, it is really funny to think about how the original GTA game was just this top-down kind of simplistic experience, and it just got more and more involved around making bigger and bigger land masses. But as somebody who hasn't actually played any of the GTA games, I can tell you absolutely nothing about any of the missions and very little about any of the characters, just because it does seem like they mostly advertised it as a bigger open world map, something where they definitely feel like they're implying that you should just find your own fun or make your own fun. I do believe that there is actually an assassin fight that happens in a scene similar to this beach, but it is fairly weird, to say the least, that you have these what look like water towers that have been converted into looking like, I don't know if those are supposed to be changing booths or if those are supposed to just be watchtowers for lifeguards. But yeah, for a perverted character like Travis and a perverted game like this that does make those kinds of jokes, it's crazy that you don't have some NPC characters in a bikini. Like, you don't even have like any NPC characters at all. Yeah. You would think there would be something here, that there would be some beach towels, there'd be some umbrellas, there'd be some people, maybe some fishers, people fishing. And I guess I would suspect that that all got left on the cutting room floor if it ever was going to exist in the first place. You almost get the feeling like they're intentionally trying to give you the feeling that this is a empty world and that there is not really quite enough people in it for the amount of buildings that exist, that people potentially are getting assassinated at such a highly incredible rate that the population is dwindling. This assassination mission is exact same place as the first one. Only difference now is we're upgraded, and I imagine if you get these giant groups of people, you can easily hit 3 or 4 of them all in a swipe. This time it doesn't feel like there's a specific target this time. So it does just seem like we are going to get button prompts to do more wrestling moves. And I imagine you will get just more missions that are like that, where you are asked to just kill everybody in the group. What's the difference between that event that I had no problem with whatsoever versus the previous event? It's just the amount of damage I can sustain. Like, if it's going to be you can't take any damage, that's going to be a lot more difficult for me until I get better at this game, which I may never really. The general idea here also seems fairly obvious, that they are going to have assassination missions that take you right next to the job center. So you take on an assassination mission from the motel, you then do the assassination mission and walk out of it and end up at the job center. We now have a lawn mowing gig, which is ridiculous. Here is the high school. This is another location. So at a certain level, I can't really blame them 100% for deciding to make an open world when a significant amount of the 3D environments you've already created are in existence and just have to exist for the actual gameplay, the main storyline part of this gameplay. But the glue that holds like the important parts of the important buildings together is the unimportant buildings, and they just don't have enough polish on them.
What? Sweet. Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised at some point if we do. Just accidentally hit the wrong button again. It's a little too easy. That probably should just pop up a confirmation message before you summon it, or it should just in general just be a faster experience. It very well may just come down the scale. If this map had if it was maybe 50% smaller, then it probably would be better. And honestly, looking at the map, it looks like there's only 6 more hidden treasures, so I should probably just get them all. I thought it was going to be a lot more than that. These mini games are ridiculous, and this mowing mini game I think is probably the most ridiculous. There are dreams in the unspoken rules of Santa Destroy. I guess it is Santa Destroy. Interesting. A verdant lawn awaits you in your future, a maze-like manor, house with a huge pool and a brilliant green lawn. Just as God of handiwork waits at the end of a long work's day. God of lawns shall smile upon all who mow them. Cut, 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 mow, mow, mow. Cut back the wildly overgrown grass, press the A button to move forward, and B to reverse. Use the left stick to move left and right. Press the right trigger button to turn.
3, 2, 1.
So, basically, you just want a decent mowing pattern here. What's funny is there's really no lawnmower sound playing. It's very subtle. The grass here is animated terribly, so obviously if you were going to remaster this, you could do some amazingly good graphics with actual blades of grass, and visually that would be interesting. Gameplay wise, it would still be as dull as mowing grass in the real world is. And you may have a point here where it's a better argument to try and get the center part more done than get all the straggler blades of grass. It would be annoying if it was a extremely loud version of a motor. Even that's exactly what it should be. So it seems like they're saying there's 100 acres there. That definitely is not even a single acre of grass. So Yeah. Probably could get 30,000 and maybe a platinum medal for doing that. I got no job for you, something a little shadier perhaps, but works all the same. I sent an introduction ticket to my association. The road to becoming a first rater is long and hard. Get your button gear. Alright. New free fight mission can be selected also. So, this would be the point where we'd want to see. We are here. Probably fine to start the assassination mission now. And then take it.
Hello, Travis.
So the gatekeeping here is fairly obvious in that you have to do the silly lawn mowing minigame before you can do any of the other stuff, or unlock the assassination missions. Okay. Noticeably, you can't drop a pin on the map, so like I want to go up here and get that one secret treasure cache first. I guess if you wanted to save, you would have to. It's gonna have to get to the map multiple times. And this is definitely one of those games where the back button didn't exist, so having a dedicated button towards pulling up a map, it wasn't a thing back then. We can't do the roaming mission either. I wouldn't be. I'm almost certainly betting on the idea that the next chapter would unlock more secret caches, and in that the secret caches are going to always kind of point towards a potential other collectibles, if there are any other collectibles around to be found. In that case, I don't think there were. You run into similar problems in many of these open worlds, where if there's a river, because rivers are visually appealing, they start to become burdensome because there's usually only going to be a couple of bridges. Alright, we can see those two dumpsters are already open, so they don't disappear as dumpsters, but they do. Let's check the map. Stay open. And we just have a long way to go. And it gets slightly uncontrollable if you're using the turbo boost. Let's see. Right. Yeah, there is a danger of going way too far in directions we don't need to go. There is this upper highway, but it doesn't seem like there's actually a way to get to that highway. Get on the highway. Yep. Let's go this way. Yeah, we need to kind of turn to the right. Yeah, and this is basically going to be not worth it to get all of these. What's in here? Just another bathroom that could have been a safe spot. Yeah. Looking at the map, there's one to the right, and then there's 3 to the left, and then there's one at the very top. So I think we can get all of those. I guess the question should be, is there a trash can on the backside of these bathrooms? No. I would really have to question how you planned on having save spots in the open world. I mean, you're doing it, I suppose, in a similar way to the hotel room, in that you walk out of your hotel room and then it loads up the world, or loads up a preloaded instance of the world. So it really wouldn't be that different, but it probably would take a little bit of extra programming and thought to have multiple places where you could load. Although not that much thought, because it's not like this was ever going to be an online MMO or a multiplayer game of any sense, where you would have to synchronize different instances of the world when loading from different spaces. Crashing in the cars still is a major problem. It does kind of just get down to a point where it makes all the sense in the world to try to use your motorcycle to get everywhere, even if it's not a place where a motorcycle would be normally expected to go. So there's something here in this big empty field. And it seems like I'm just gonna have to run around until I can find it. See, this is a mistake, certainly, as far as just game design, to have a cache of gold where there is nothing. Okay. 2 more to the right. Where I'm facing. I wish half of these buildings that had names on them really played any role. Like, maybe there is some weird backstory element to that most players, including me, the first time I played it, just didn't recognize. Like if every store there was either mentioned or owned by one of the assassins, that would be kind of interesting. Yeah, but we're supposed to have 200,000 LBs at this point, and we're struggling to get 100,000 LBs. Let's double check where we're heading to here. Yep. The last hidden cache spot. This would definitely be a point where the game should give me an achievement. Otherwise, it is going to train me to not expect achievements for finding all the hidden caches, and that the hidden caches are not particularly required to be found. Which I think they want you to find them all. Obviously, somebody made this content. So obviously somebody wanted you to be interested in actually playing it. I'm guessing the last one here is actually on the beach. Yeah, if each of these toilets became fast travel stations, that would make a lot of sense. But I don't think they actually ever do. There we go. So as far as I can tell, that should be the last of the secret caches. Let's call a motorcycle over, even though it is slow.
Travis, it's a bad day.
Alright. We'll check the map one last time. Zoom in some more. Yep. It does seem like there's a little bit of extra places you can go, but not a ton of extra places. Yeah, there might be a pink hidden cache there, but I don't know if you could even reach that area. Otherwise, in the areas we have visited, it's fairly obviously empty. I would question whether that is what I'm seeing here, too. It's still a very bad map. And yeah, it's not going to get any better, so complaining about it's not going to accomplish much. It definitely feels like, having now spent a decent amount of time in Does that take any damage off of me? It didn't look like it did. Yep. Seems after having spent a decent amount of time wandering around the city, there really can't be that much more. I wouldn't be surprised if I've found somewhere around 40, maybe even 50% of all the collectibles and all of the dumpsters in the open world already. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it's closer to 70 or 80%. And see, this will be about the only mission we can do here. So we're not even going to get to the next actual storyline assassination mission.
You got guts, I'll give you that.
Right. Oh yeah. I can't in this one do anything other than wrestling moves. So it's just A and B to stun, and then get a wrestling move to do that. Which inherently, having limited wrestling moves because we haven't gone further in the game, makes it less likely that you can actually do great in this fight. I always had a feeling that these wrestling moves were focused around somewhere the direction you were standing too, so there's probably some moves that you just can't do face on or the other direction. Where's the people? Like, so we took out one group, and it just gave me another group. So there really is no limit here as far as how many you can take out, although maybe there is. Maybe if I was really upgraded and capable, I could have killed 20 instead of 30, or instead of 10. That definitely, since they only gave me a silver for that, with a clear time of 2 minutes, that implies to me that you could have cleared it in less than 2 minutes, or you cleared it always with 2 minutes, and you could have done twice as many. But obviously there's some room for improvement as we upgrade. And that's hardly anything close to a regular assassination mission. Yeah. Let's go this way and take on the other open world assassinations missions, since that didn't take as much time as I thought it was going to take by any means. That was really short. I was expecting it to be much longer. Here. What's crazy is you'll just see how old this game is when you see cars priced at relatively low prices compared to 2023 prices for cars. I suspected that there might be a trash can around here too, but looks like it's just a Levikov ball. Let's just run back and rely on the motorcycle. It does take that extra amount of time and effort though to press the Y button to get on the vehicle.
Whoa.
Yes.
We're just going crazy with the amount of t-shirts we're finding. And Levikov balls.
Yes.
There's also some textures just straight up glitching. What's funny is the games that have been getting remakes recently in the past few years are still kind of games that were top sellers and were fairly playable to begin with. Whereas a game like this that obviously could have more polish to it and could really benefit from having a remake to it are not like popular enough that they would get that kind of remake. Not easily, certainly. We have slowly moved to the point where nearly any game that's sold even well is getting remade. No More Heroes, not quite to that point, but they were, at least until recently, working on No More Heroes 2 and 3, so Grasshopper Manufacturer probably just didn't have the resources to potentially try and remake the first game. But yeah, I would have to assume that games that at least have some niche fandom like this are still on the table to potentially have a remake in the next few years, compared to something like Bullet Witch, which was just like a colossal failure and nobody has played it really or ever heard of it, so I doubt there would be much of a chance of a remake there. This is probably the mission I already tried. I guess we'll just give it another chance.
3, 2, 1.
I'm gonna kill you. That.
Alright.
What a pain! What a pain!
I think the chances are very high that what you need to do here is just hold the left trigger this whole time. That way you increase your odds of dodging. That being said, I either let go of the left trigger. You're not getting rewarded for doing this.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, take a look at him.
It might be very well a case that you do just need to survive and you don't have to actually kill people. Yeah. But even if I was gonna run away from that and just like flee them, I don't think that really works. There's almost certainly is a mission that if it just stays unlocked for the next act, I could increase my combo or increase my attack on it enough that instead of having to do 2 or 3 button mashes, I do 1 button mash, and that's good enough. A better iteration of this open world also would have been for specific regions to have been very, very locked off. Let's see, if we were to just imply here that you start out at the hotel, if the hotel was very close to the stadium and just the stadium and the hotel was unlocked in the first couple chapters, and then the next assassination mission unlocked an area just above where the motel is, if the motel was like where the job center is. If you just switch those 2 locations, you could then expand the world more. Then with being able to go further in different directions, you also potentially open up in a very natural way the collect more hidden collectibles. But yeah, if you hadn't gotten the upgrades, you wouldn't probably be seeing the hidden caches of collectibles at all. So that whole element of the open world is very missable. It feels very missable, at least.
What?
It definitely also feels
Sweet.
like you could miss quite a lot of these dumpsters.
What?
Yeah, you're going to run out of stuff to do, though. Like fairly obviously.
Yes.
Like right now, because I spent so much shopping, I'm still 70,000, I think, short of what I need. If not, then I'm way ahead of what I need. Basketball court fight makes a lot of sense. This is another kill them all until you take damage mission. So I wonder if a lot of them are like that. Let's run to a corner here. Maybe I should be doing more wrestling moves as a prompt. Yeah. So at least we learned something there, in that yes, there is a limited number of people there that you have to kill. Very possibly, if I'd done that in less than a minute, I might get a platinum medal, which with upgrades, that seems like that might be something that's redoable. Although, noticeably, that mission does seem like it's just gone. Hmm.
Travis! Hey, it's a bad day.
So, yeah, we've gone very long here in this episode and not made it to anything. Let's go to the ATM, see if we can pay to enter the next section. If we can't, then I think I probably just want to play a little bit off screen. Generally, I try to put all of the content in the footage, but if I am just going to have to hunker down and do the lawn mowing minigame a couple times to grind, or if I'm just going to have to hunker down and I don't know, I'm going the wrong direction, aren't I? If I'm gonna have to do lawn mowing minigame or finish that roaming mission and do the lawn mowing game, it kind of feels like another 30,000 is still about 30,000 short. So there's another assassination mission. I wouldn't show that. I wouldn't do that without showing that, since we haven't seen that at all. But if I'm just repeating assassination missions, there's not a lot of reason to show that. And yeah, I did say before that from my vague memory of the last time I played this game, it did seem like at a certain point you did stop having to do a lot of these minigame stuff. Like, you could do them if you wanted to purchase outfits, and I very possibly did purchase outfits and waste a lot of money. A modern take on this game would almost certainly have more graffiti and more artwork. It's probably an unfair thing to say, but I would say Grasshopper Manufacturer Suda51, while he does promote his name quite a bit as being one of these avant-garde artistic type creators, he is perhaps a little bit less artistic than you would think when you look at this game. The visuals there are just not as good as you would have liked him to be. But then also, I imagine this game was severely limited just in budget and in that the fact that it was a Switch game, or no, that it was a Wii game, not a Switch game. Right. So yeah. We still just don't have enough cash. And there really isn't anything you can do to make up for that, and this would be kind of like a great example of a mod that just gave you an infinite amount of money. Very, very much would speed up this experience for people trying to catch up as far as the No More Hero series and just trying to do the important parts. We have been all over the place as far as you have 0, 0, 1, sunglasses and 002 sunglasses. We have one jacket. I guess I couldn't afford a lot of them. As far as the t-shirts go, we have made a lot of progress to 11, then you skip all the way to 61, 63. Wherever I found 61, 62 was almost certainly around the corner. Same is true for 65. It's just a ridiculous amount of t-shirts. Like, clearly the effort to make these t-shirts could have gone into art that could have been spray painted on the walls and made the entire environment look better. This is a Japanese umbrella with two names under it. It's something little kids do to basically, it's the equivalent of writing two names and drawing a heart around it. It says that they're in love with each other, going out with each other type things. No, write it on, carve it on into desks, things like that. Although I imagine the Japanese don't actually carve it into desks that often. So yeah, just a lot of outfits that do nothing. Your drawer now does allow you to select between Tsubaki and Bloodberry, but Tsubaki is better, so you wouldn't ever switch to it, I imagine. As far as the map goes, you can still see that there's a lot of areas, a lot of exclamation points, but this map is not really any more helpful. If anything, this map probably clarifies the other map by saying, yes, there is this like highway here that seems to go off in this direction, but that doesn't mean anything because you're not going to actually do anything with that. Right. So yeah, when you defeat a mission, you can see it. It may very well be a case that gold is just the only mission option. So it would make a lot of sense for me to do Assassination Gig 1 and 2 again, and try and get gold for them. Clearly there can't be that much room, that much stuff, that many missions on the map, otherwise it's going to become a nightmare. We don't need to do anything with the telephone. We wouldn't have collected any cards. We won't play with the cat. We wouldn't have unlocked any TV things. So yeah, let's save. Yeah, and that was an hour and 43 minutes of gameplay. That's quite a lot, certainly. Yep, I'm going to play a little bit off screen, and then we'll start up after that. I won't do anything new. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.